Ever since the modern era began, virtual reality, otherwise known as VR, has served as a symbol for what human technology could accomplish. Our current conception of VR could be traced back to the 1935 short story Pygmalion Spectacles, written by the sci-fi writer Stanley G. Weinbaum. The story featured a pair of spectacles, or goggles, that allowed its users to see, feel, or even taste things that are not there in real life. While the technology kept on growing, the first signs that virtual reality could be brought from laboratories into our homes came with the Oculus Rift, a VR project that launched on Kickstarter.com in August 2012. In less than 24 hours, the project managed to substantially surpass its fund goals. It later went on to collect much more funding than anyone could have ever expected. Today, from video gaming, transatlantic conferences, to training the military, potential uses for this new technology seems limitless. Danielle Levac, assistant professor at Northeastern University's Department of Physical Therapy, Movement, and Rehabilitation Science, believes that this technology can provide a much cheaper option for patients who desperately need the therapy in various forms.
So I've been here at Northeastern for 2 years, and the goal of my work here in the lab is to understand what is it about practicing in a virtual environment, a virtual reality setting, whether that's a three-dimensional setting like you're putting on a head-mounted display, or whether it's something that's a two-dimensional display like the screens that we have in this room. What is it that would make is more advantageous than just practice in a regular environment? Why should clinicians, physical therapists, occupational therapists, physicians, choose to use these tools instead of just the other regular stuff that they have available to them? I think the advances in motion capture, so things like the Kinect, where you can play a video game, you're not holding onto anything, you're not touching anything, it's really allowed people to translate from these more immersive, expensive rehabilitation specific equipment that we have here in the lab to things that you can use at home. So these low-cost sensors like the Kinect and other things that are coming out really enable this type of virtual reality experience to be happening at home. It's not just the domain of a research lab anymore. So in this summer we started, had a study we had typically developing, so healthy children come into the lab and they practice the task either in this virtual environment or we had an equivalent physical environment. So what we saw was that kids were actually able to acquire and learn the skill better in the virtual reality setting. They got better at it faster, but when it came time for them to switch to the physical task, they weren't actually able to perform as well as the kids who had learned the task in the physical environment. So that kind of shows us that there are some advantages of practicing in a virtual environment for learning, but we have to figure out a little bit more about how we can transfer those benefits back to the real world.
Well, my name's Tamika, and I pretty much found out about this place through my daughter's doctor, her neurologist, and she just asked us to participate in a study, and we're here. She's going through this therapy session basically due to having weak muscles from hemiplegia, which is she had a stroke before she was born, and struggles with weak muscles on the right side of her body. We've done like the regular type of therapy, going to an appointment, your typical like boring situation for a child.
I think the level of it's more interesting than the other physical therapy that I've done, because the other one that I've done is I do the exercises and then I'm done with it, and then here I'll play a game but I'm exercising at the same time, so it's just a different level of interesting.
I think that the field, like with anything else in medicine or therapy, we want to show effectiveness. We want to give therapists a really good reason why they should choose this over something else. So the body of literature is mounting to show that there are really good reasons for using virtual reality, but it doesn't work for everyone, right? So I'm certainly not someone who's going to say you should choose this for every type of client, for every type of kid or adult, and for every type of setting. So what I really want to continue to do in my work is to give therapists some rationale, some education, and some decision-making tools so they can understand what game should I choose for which type of kid, and when might it actually not be appropriate to use these tools.
Because I like it more. I think it's a lot more interesting than doing regular physical therapy.
Okay, cool. Yeah.